What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Slipstream, and we're doing NASCAR today. I'm Ash.
I'm Trey.
I'm Sachet.
And to start us off, everyone knows NASCAR, but we're going to give you the rundown. It's an American racing league that is separated into 3 different series. We have the Stock Car Cup, Xfinity, and Craftsman Truck. The Cup Series is where big-time drivers like Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, and Ross Chastain race. And so the Xfinity Series is a feeder series for those who aim to race in the Cup Series, just like Formula 2 is to Formula 1. And so the series is an off-brand league that feeds into various other leagues of the motorsport. Some highlights of the Cup Series. It started in 1949. There's currently 15 teams manufactured and provided engines by Chevrolet, Toyota, and Ford. And so Goodyear provides all of these tires, and the high-rev 5.9-liter V8 engines are the ones in use right now in the Cup Series stock cars, with manual refueling being replaced with electronic methods back at the set of the 2012 season. Getting into the teams a little bit, we have 23XI Racing, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Legacy Motor Club under All Toyota.
That's correct.
Yeah. Some others, we have Front Row Motorsports, the Haas Factory Team, RFK Racing, Rick Ware Racing, Team Penske, Thor Sport Racing, and Wood Brothers, all racing under Ford. And now for the final one under Chevy, we have Hendrick Motorsports, Hyack Motorsports, JR Motorsports, Colleague Racing, Nice Motorsports, Richard Childress Racing, and Spire Motorsports, and Trackhouse. And so up to 40 drivers in NASCAR will compete in one single race, and there will be 3 to 4 stages in a single 300 to 600 lap race. And with the winner of each session earning up to 40 points and a top prize of $25,000 per race.
That is correct. And I think the one thing that we need to distinguish between NASCAR and a lot of other leagues of motorsport is that not only is it an American exclusive league, of course there are some sub-leagues that race in Mexico and some other parts of the world like Britain, and I think they even expanded to Australia at one point. Mm-hmm. But this is very different from any sort of endurance racing that is raced by IMSA or WEC or any Formula feeder series like IndyCar, F2, F3, or Formula Renault. Mm-hmm. This is solely a stock car series. So stock cars, they have a bit of a weird design. I actually got to work with the stock car by painting the livery for the 2311 team for the Roval 400 back in 2023. And it doesn't have any real windows or lights. It is solely a paint and mega sticker scheme all around the car. And there are different types of paint. Of course, there's Cyrillic paint, matte paint, and it really depends on the livery and, of course, how the team can budget themselves. And, of course, we should be going over the structure of the league itself. There are a total of 36 races in the NASCAR Cup Series, which is what we're going to be covering for today. And it is consequently the most popular and profitable in the NASCAR series. And they have been consistently doing 36 races since the 2001 season over a span of 10 months. So a little bit longer than your typical motorsport. But, of course, again, these laps usually last anywhere between half a minute to 1 minute and 15 seconds. And they're racing at much lower speeds in comparison to some of the other series that race in Formula-style cars.
Right, and I've been meaning to go to a NASCAR race for a pretty long time.
Oh,
I think
boy.
it's shameful. I think it's shameful
that
I haven't gone yet.
You live in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes,
I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. What's up?
So we both live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and actually, fun fact, the Motor Speedway is 10 minutes from my house, and I've lived there my whole life and have not gone to a race. I'm so sorry.
That's actually surprising.
So sorry, but I promise I'll go to a race for you guys soon.
If we gain enough traction and we're able to pull off a live stream, I know where we're going.
Oh, yes.
Cola 600, May.
Yes.
I'm saving up my budget, and we're going. And
right.
I'm flying you out here. I'm flying you out here, buddy, if I can.
All right.
But anyways, so going into the next subject, we are going to be going over the most recent NASCAR race, the Enjoy Illinois 300,
yep.
which I actually saw live on television at one of the bars here on Franklin Street.
When was that?
It was this past Sunday, so September the 7th.
Oh, cool. And so we have some key competitors in this race, which was Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson and Josh Berry.
Yes. So going over Denny Hamlin and Chris Briscoe in specifics, these are two race car drivers who have never won not only a title in the playoff series, but also never in the normal series of the Cup Series of NASCAR. So they are basically competing for their very first title. It's kind of like an Alain Prost, Ayrton Senna situation from the early 90s or even late 80s.
In Formula One, by
In
the
Formula
way.
One, of course, but this is NASCAR. So it was a less than 300th of a second gap, so 0.3 of a second gap between Denny Hamlin, who was on pole position for the race, and Chris Briscoe, who started in third. And, of course, the Hamlin-Briscoe fight continues in a very clean way, even though Denny Hamlin has a bit of a history of being cocky and celebrating when he shouldn't. He definitely is edging out the competition and has finished in fourth place 2 times over the past 5 NASCAR Cup seasons and has never finished lower than 8th in the past 10 years.
Oh, wow.
That's surprising.
Okay, and moving on to our next big name in this race, Kyle Larson. Looks like he blew his chance at a close contention. At a close contention for his first Cup Series since 2021. Now, what effect does that have on his team and his race so far?
It's not much of a team effect, but it's more of an image effect, and I think we should go over how Kyle Larson's image has been affected over the years. Proclaiming that he's better than Max Verstappen, saying the N-word on stream when they were in lockdown.
Controversy.
And just overall very cocky in the post-race interviews. And he said he was better than Max Verstappen.
That's
I believe
what
it
got
was.
me.
Yes.
That is what got me, because how can you, again, if you watched our last episode.
I will reiterate. Mercedes first, but Verstappen legend.
Absolutely. And if you caught our last episode, I emphasized on the fact that if you raced in Formula One, it is relatively easier to race in other formats. And so going backwards from a NASCAR to Formula One kind of dynamic, I think that's very cocky on Kyle Larson's part to compare himself to Max Verstappen competing in a NASCAR format.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Especially when you take into account the amount of effort Max Verstappen himself has been putting in and the amount of wins he's had in like the most recent races. So this is some real controversy here. I gotta put my foot down.
Right. Also, intellectually, I just don't think you can be comparing across formats like that. Comparing NASCAR
that doesn't make
to
any sense.
Formula One doesn't.
Right.
It does not.
We
make
know
sense to me.
NASCAR, of course, you go like 200 miles per hour in NASCAR, but you're reaching top speeds of 250 in Formula One. So much more of a difference when it comes to the G-forces and the training regimens and your diets.
I think Max Verstappen just hit his fastest lap ever, and it was in about like a little over a minute. And
it was 1 minute and 7 seconds, or 1 minute and 5 seconds, I
something
believe,
like
at
that,
the Monza qualifying session.
At speeds of 260, I believe.
260 miles per hour, which is about 355 kph.
Yes, I think so. And so that's worth noting because, as Trey said, we kind of maxed out at 250 for Formula One. He beat that by a big margin, and Max Verstappen holds the fastest lap in Formula One right now.
He beat Lewis Hamilton's lap record 5 years ago, pretty much to that day.
He did,
yeah.
And, of course, we're getting a little bit sidetracked. The point being, with Kyle Larson, he tagged himself into the front right tire of Ryan Blaney's car from second on the grid. So he was in the front row at the rolling start. Not exactly at the rolling start, but I think it was a couple of laps after the rolling start. Tags Ryan Blaney, spins out, loses contention, and he hasn't lost full-on contention of potentially winning the title this year, but he has definitely pushed himself back. He's had a fall back.
And how does this affect Ryan Blaney? What position is he in so far in NASCAR, and why? And how does this affect his race and team?
Well, when it comes to Ryan Blaney, if you look at him in the standings, I believe that he is in fifth. He is in fifth place, just 2 places behind Kyle Larson, and not that many points behind Chris Briscoe or Denny Hamlin. What separates the leader of the championship from fifth place Ryan Blaney is a total of 35 points. Again, this is a very close contention, and this is what I wanted to mention about why it is such close contention every single year in the NASCAR series. It's because the point system works like this. 40 cars racing, first place gets 40 points. From 37th to 40th, you only get 1 point. But of course, tagging each other, spinning out, doing a barrel roll, and the worst case scenario, God forbid, that you flip and turn yourself
Crash,
over in
yes.
the car.
Yeah, that's not
But it can
good.
always shake up the grid. And I
Mhm.
remember seeing this being specifically exemplified in the most chaotic way possible when I watched the Daytona 500 back in February of 2023.
Mhm.
There were crashes everywhere that I could see.
Oh,
I don't
yes.
think
Oh,
a
dang.
single driver, except for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., ironically enough, because he's a bit of a low midfielder,
Okay.
he's the only one who didn't get into a crash, and he somehow won that race.
And that's why we have some controversy with the sports themselves, where we have some Americans saying that NASCAR is better than Formula One just because the grid can be shaken up pretty fast. There are a lot more crashes, kind of a lot faster than Formula One.
Okay.
And there's just a lot more, I don't know, action to NASCAR sometimes. And in Formula One, sometimes when you get to the middle of the races, the grid is kind of set sometimes. But
Yeah, with the
a
DRS
little,
trains and all. And
yes, and so-
slipstreams, pit stops, be made. Well, this is my take on it.
Mhm.
Subjectively, Formula One will be better than NASCAR, but fundamentally, NASCAR will be better than Formula One.
Oh, I agree. This is something I will
agree
always.
too.
If you say that you like NASCAR, then I understand why. Absolutely, it's an exciting
And
sport.
I think it's because of the economic standpoint that NASCAR takes. Of course, they limit themselves down to pretty much one country and one country only. So it's easy to make those economic decisions, here and there. But at that, they are able to allocate their funds and manage them to the teams better, except for one instance that I think we should talk about. So there was a lawsuit that was going on for a
yes.
solid 11 months up until they were able to close the case recently. And by recently, I mean they closed it about a week and a half ago.
Yes, and this was with the 23XI team.
Yeah, so the 2311.
2311, yeah.
So the 2311 team is a NASCAR team that has pretty much been on the rise with Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace racing as their two racers, and it is owned by the one and only, the very infamous Michael Jordan.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes.
him.
Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan who attended here, UNC Chapel Hill,
Mhm.
the
This
Michael
guy.
Jordan who played at the Chicago Bulls, the Michael Jordan who is a billionaire.
Yes. In this team, they have this new take it or leave it kind of charter system that was implemented by NASCAR at the start of the 2024 season. But I think 2311 never signed into
they
this.
never signed the warrants to specifically agree to this agreement.
Mhm.
And of course, people were conspiring that 2311 intentionally did this in order to boycott some of the events in order to not have to pay for it, and therefore they could allocate their funds a little bit more into the team and into the car. Because if you remember the 2024 season, they actually won the normal season with Tyler Reddick.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes, but then again, Tyler Reddick was on the up and up. If we're being real, let's be real here.
Okay.
He was on the up and up. He must have had a pretty much flawless season aside from a couple of taps here and there with some of his rivals, but he raced pretty solid.
And so the teams were expected to either have to settle or lose because of the antitrust law in place for any teams that challenge this and the integrity of this policy. And so NASCAR countered this suit by conspiring that the 2011 violated these laws by threatening to, again, as you said, boycott the various events. And so as of, again, what Trey said, as of last week, September 3rd, they are trying to refrain from selling their own charters and will allow 2311 to remain a charter team that will create its own set of guidelines to succeed in the sport, while also following company morals and staying within the current era's regulations.
Exactly. And there are quite a few staff members and drivers themselves who have had their own personal takes on this. Kyle Larson, listen, as much as I do not like the guy, he pretty much got it on the money. He said, "We are probably one of the only sports, if not the only sport, that athlete salary has gone down in the last couple of decades. Where you look at clearly most athlete salaries are going up, but not at just athletes, coaches, staff members, everybody, and how Richard Childress, the RCR owner, said that he didn't have a choice. He has 400 employees, manufacturer contracts, and contracts with sponsors, and he has to just like take care of his team while withholding, the members it has.
Oh, absolutely. And so having this decrease in salaries, Josh Berry, who DNF'd in this race, how is that going to affect his salary? Is it based, as we said, it is based upon race.
Upon your race performance, and I think this is a bit of a Josh Berry issue himself. It's not anything to do with the team or his morale or his mindset. It's just an
a
issue
lack
with
in
his
performance.
racecraft. He's been on the lower end of the midfield, and he's had a couple of standout performances, like in, I believe, the Daytona 500 and some other races where he scored 4th, 6th, and 8th respectively. But
right, and I think this was he was prospering here in the Xfinity series.
Yeah,
that
the
you're talking
Xfinity
about.
series. So if we look at Josh Berry in the Xfinity series, he, I believe, took the top 5 position. I believe he took a top 5 position back in 2022 or 2023. And then, he was racing in NASCAR beforehand, but he was racing as a test.
So these past 2 seasons, there has just been a lack in performance. Do you think there has been a lack in the structure of the car and how they design it? Has there been any change to the design in which it could contribute?
I don't believe that you can make that many. It's got to be a pure lack of performance.
And in NASCAR, in the NASCAR format, is it normal to make many changes to the car as it is in Formula One?
I believe it's not as many changes because, once again, it's a stock car. They are relatively the same. It all lies within engine manufacturers, budgets, and team morale. Those are
Indeed.
like those make up the trifecta of what makes a NASCAR team as firm, strong, and reliable as it is. Of course, you have all these objective components, but that's the trifecta of it.
I see. And so, speaking of dropping in performances, we have another name that stood out in this race, Daniel Suárez.
Oh my gosh! So I actually did an assignment where I had to do an annotated bibliography in my advanced Spanish class.
And you chose
Daniel Suárez.
Daniel Suárez. No, he was part of the overall subject, like the rise in motorsports, and in like Hispanic America. And he obviously has had one of the greatest influences, not just in modern times, but in overall time. Of course, you have Ayrton Senna and people like Checo Perez, but Daniel Suárez is very much one of the biggest in the Western world.
I see.
Yes.
It looks like he advanced to the playoffs last year for the second time in his Cup Series career.
Yes,
is that right?
Or the second time in his Cup Series career.
Yeah.
But this time around, he is not looking good. He just had a DNF at the Enjoy Illinois 300, and he finished in the back markers in the Cookout Southern 500. But the Coke Zero Sugar 400, he actually finished in second place.
What year was this?
This was like 2 races ago.
Oh,
2 races ago.
2 races
Saturday,
ago.
Saturday,
So
August 23rd.
we can see a consistent, or I should say we could see a trend in the inconsistency of his races.
Yes, the
because
inconsistency.
since 2021, he's had multiple very bad finishes, with him coming in 31st with a 365 point back in 2020, and then currently 27th with 480 points.
Exactly, of course. And going back to the Daytona 500 2023, I saw this live. It was about 5 to 10 laps to go, and he was running in a very solid 10th place, and he was about to pick up a whole load of points, but then he just slams it into the wall.
Oh, yeah.
God.
And his hood blows off. The back of his car just completely busted. His
my
tires
goodness.
absolutely busted. His axles are completely done for. He tries to pull into the pit lane to get some kind of repair going on, because this is the funny thing about repairs in NASCAR. They will do anything. Duct tape, the sledgehammer.
I have seen it. I have
seen
the
those
pit
too.
crew.
Ridiculous.
The pit crew is quite impressive in NASCAR. They will do anything to get that car back onto the track, and I have to give props to the pit crew, because no pit crew works as hard as the NASCAR ones. And Daniel Suárez did the worst thing you could possibly do in motorsports, and he had as you said, the collision course and a equipment crew interference. Isn't that
Yeah, I
incorrect.
believe it was an equipment crew interference.
Didn't this
Okay.
happen in
And
like Tennessee or something?
yes,
Yes.
Bristol, Tennessee.
And 2 end of race penalties as well. What was that for? The penalties?
The
The penalties, I believe it was for the crew interference and another collision course that he must have gotten into.
Oh, wow.
So he's really on the down streak.
He is on the decline. It is basically a roller coaster with him. You never know what's going to happen next. It's like what kind of comparison can I make here? It's kind of like Nick DeVries ever since he joined back in
That's a
Formula
good
E
example.
with the Mahindra
Yeah.
team. Because at the beginning, I will admit, in bad conscience, in the beginning, I was making fun of him way too much. I was like, oh boy,
Oh,
another
really?
AlphaTauri failure. Let's go, Nick. Come on.
See, that's-
drag it to the finish.
Well, conversely to that, I actually was a big Nick DeVries fan just because he was a rookie and he genuinely had a lot of talent for the sport. I don't think his team supported him in the way that needed to be supported, and I think that's still the issue with rookies now, that the team isn't fully there for you, and that's a big issue in Formula One.
Well, except for Bortoleto, because not only does he have himself, he has the entire country of Brazil behind him.
Oh yeah,
Even
Brazilian
to the freaking
pride.
Amazon tribes, they're behind him. But case in point with Nick DeVries, he has been doing relatively good. He finished, I believe, in the top 10 in his past Formula E season in a very underperforming Mahindra car.
Oh, wow.
But of course, that's
Oh.
going to be part of the Formula E subject later on in another episode. Bringing it back to NASCAR, so we have Suárez underperforming,
Josh Berry.
Berry
completely
getting
on the
last.
decline.
Kyle Larson.
still a big a-hole. Chris Briscoe and Denny Hamlin in the title fight of the freaking decade, it seems like, because, Kyle Larson kind of expected in 2021 given his dominant performance. Ryan Blaney also very dominant in 2022. Tyler Reddick,
Yes.
very much a surprise, but he swept away the competition in the remaining races. And of course, Hamlin versus Briscoe, who knows where it could go? It's literally 5 to 10 points separating them at this point, and I believe they could take it on to the finale this upcoming November.
Oh, absolutely. And so this competition between Hamlin and Briscoe is something to look out for in NASCAR, as well as the Lando Oscar Championship thing in
The
Formula
Lando
One.
Oscar Championship. It's a bit of a bigger gap, but if you look at it through like a closer lens, you'll see that every point counts in a different way in each of these leagues. Like, for instance, in Formula One, when you even chop off a piece of your left front or right front end plate, it's not only causes you to miss anywhere between 2 to 3 points of aerodynamic performance and costs you tens of thousands of dollars in damage, it costs you pretty much your tenacity
Oh,
to
yes,
be able
absolutely.
to come out
Absolutely, yes.
pretty much unscathed.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen people like, I don't know, Checo Perez in Charles Leclerc in Silverstone in 2022 come out of that pretty much a beast, because if you remember, he lost his front end plate at the beginning of the restart of the Silverstone race, and he was actually able to come out in a pretty respectable fourth, almost beating Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
But then in
Oh,
NASCAR, you can pretty much slam it into the wall, take off all your paint and all your stickers on one side, and you can still somehow make the most of it.
Oh, I agree. And
Indeed.
And just to recap what we, all the racing formats so far, we have a big competition between Lando and Oscar in Formula One. We have the Hamlin-Briscoe going head-to-head in NASCAR, and then we have Kevin Estre and Laurence Vanthor for Porsche and WEC also going for it.
That is correct. And of course, Formula E is in an off season. They return in, I believe it is December. They changed up the format a little bit after the regular 2023 season, where instead of racing in January, they would race in December just before Christmas break.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's something to look forward to.
It's something to look forward to and something to tap back into.
Mm-hmm.
But one more piece of NASCAR news that I want to touch on was the Dillon brothers.
Oh, tell me about that.
So
I don't
Ty
really know.
and Austin Dillon, NASCAR has a long history of family duos racing together. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Sr. raced together in the 1999 to 2001 season up until Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s unfortunate death. May God rest his soul. It was one of the darkest days in NASCAR history. You have Kyle and Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch, of course, retired a couple of years ago before the pandemic. Kyle Busch is still in here, but he is on a more major downfall than Lewis Hamilton, if we're being completely honest. And Ty and Austin Dillon, they are pretty newlywed in terms of duos, but they crashed.
Oh, wow.
Well, they didn't crash, but they made contact with each other and did synchronized spinning at the end of the main straight on the left side of the track. And not only is it a cardinal sin to crash with your teammate, but if you are racing a sibling, and even if you're on a different team, that could get awkward, you know?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And especially when you take ethics into consideration. Like, your ethics just completely go out the window at that point.
It really is a bit of a sticky situation.
Oh, yeah.
But
very much so.
Throughout NASCAR history, there have been several duos, siblings, and father-son relationships that have really messed up the track a little bit, and this is no different. We have the Dillon brothers going at it on the track again.
Right, of course. So, sticky situation, and the final piece of NASCAR news we need to touch on too, and this is very tragic. It's not. No. Nobody died. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
But it's very tragic in the sense that this guy was dominant in the racing scene from his very early years on, and including his prime years. I specifically remember seeing him completely sweep away the competition from 2011 to up to even 2015. Kyle Busch.
I have heard, like, I am not a NASCAR girly, but I have heard things about Kyle Busch.
So he was the Xfinity Series champion in the regular season back in 2009, and that was before he kind of got into the NASCAR feeder series. He was racing for one of the teams under Toyota, where Toyota was actually the lead manufacturer in comparison to Ford being the lead manufacturer in NASCAR nowadays. He was the Cup Series champion after entering the playoffs in 2015 and 2019.
Yep.
And the regular series champion in 2019 as well. So the double championship, which not a lot of drivers have been able to pull off, but also the year beforehand in 2018. And he won the Bristol Night Race 3 times. I don't think anybody has been able to win it multiple times.
Yes, like, that is quite impressive. And if you're not familiar with Kyle Busch, back in the early 2000s, if you heard of the name Kurt Busch, he was the younger brother of him. So if you know your NASCAR knowledge, then you've heard of the Busch brothers.
Hey, do you dare me to pull up Kurt Busch's old radio?
Ooh, I don't know if you should do that.
Yep. Let's just say that his favorite phrase is every effing week.
Oh, yes.
I hate my effing job. And of course, Kyle Busch's favorite phrase, well, this is a bit of a one-time thing he did in an interview. Basically, I think it was he repeated the same continuous phrase where he was like, oh yeah, the car is good. Not a lot to change with it, but we'll see you on the track. He repeated that same phrase to an interviewer like 5 times before she finally caught what was going on and took the hints.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So kind of like he kind of employed a Max Verstappen, aka Kimi Räikkönen type technique when it comes to the interviews, where he just
I don't know about technique. It's definitely a mindset, though.
Mindset.
Yes.
He still has that same mindset to this day, but he has definitely grown more humble ever since he got married and had his son and his daughter.
Yeah, so that's one thing about Kyle Busch. As big of a driver he was in NASCAR, this past race he finished 22nd. So, like, having a wonderful record is something to be proud about, and having, you know, the new family and everything, it's normal, I would say.
Yeah,
Indeed.
but this is the very sad thing. It's like, I don't believe he has been able to advance to the playoff series since 2022. Yeah, 2022. Even then, he finished relatively low in 13th place and didn't even make it to the final stage, along with Elliott, Bell, Chastain, or Joey Logano, who won that year's title. So we
have 2019 as his peak year, and it kind of fell
went
off
from
there.
Kind of fell off, but even then, he was building up something for himself.
Exactly. And those three big wins, those consecutive wins that you were talking about, that's quite impressive as well.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
So, case in point, NASCAR is not only polarizing in the sense of team performance and fan bases, but also polarizing in the sense of drivers, because you never know what is going to change within these drivers and these pilots' minds when they get behind the wheel and boogity, 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 go racing, boys. But, I think that is about all we have in terms of news coverage. You guys have any personal comments about NASCAR? Or?
I should get into it more, and I will trust. I will go to a race. Please don't flame me, but I will. I will buy that ticket, and you will see me at one of the races.
So you see that? See that, America? Ash is finally going to get into NASCAR racing, even though she lives in the hometown.
Sorry, guys. I'll be there. You'll see me.
Okay, yes. I'm getting tickets this May. I'm not wasting this opportunity.
Oh, yeah, and I can sure as heck escape my hometown to just go see a NASCAR race, because this has been a bucket list on my to-do list for life.
Halfway across the country, but it's going to be absolutely worth it.
Absolutely.
And, of course, I guess that wraps up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you tune in with us on Spotify and YouTube, and make sure you give us a subscription on both of those platforms, and we will be back next week where we will be talking about whatever comes to mind.
Yes, absolutely. I'm Ash.
I'm Trey.
I'm Sachet.
And this is the Slipstream. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.